Do you want to get more out of your boat, especially on the downwind leg? A good way of doing that would be to fit a spinnaker. We're going to take a look at what you need to do to put a spinnaker on your boat that doesn't have a spinnaker. Yeah, it's Joe here for Joyrider TV. We're going to take a look at which parts you need to fit to your boat in order to be able to fly a spinnaker. So let's get straight in there and take a look. So the most significant part, other than the spinnaker itself, that you'll need to fit is a bowsprit. You could either buy one of these from the manufacturer or you could make your own. We'll put the specifications of the tube that you need in the video description. This is 3.5 meters long for a Tiger. That would be the same for any 18-foot boat. And then at the end of the bowsprit, we need a small block. And then we have our bridle wires on the bowsprit. These could either be made from wire or 2.5mm or 3mm Dyneema, and they'll just go to the same fitting where the bridle wires attach at the front there. We then have some intermediate bridle wires on the bowsprit. Again, we can use rope for these. The 2.5mm or 3mm Dyneema would be ideal, but here I've used a bit of 4mm swift cord, which does the same job. And then we need a line which is going to hold the bowsprit up. You don't need to have a fitting here. This line could just go around the bowsprit and ties up to the middle of where the bridle wires meet. Quite a significant part on most modern bowsprits is a spinnaker chute. This will be the more expensive way of fitting a spinnaker to the boat, because the chute you would either have to get made or buy a production part from the manufacturer, and this could be quite expensive. If your budget doesn't run to having a spinnaker chute and you'd rather do this without spending quite so much money, you could do what we've got on our Dragoon here, which is the old-fashioned style, which is to have a bag on the trampoline. So you just need a bag with an opening. The spinnaker will live in there while it's not being used. That just ties onto the trampoline, leaving the bowsprit or spinnaker pole bare, so you don't need that expense. Another consideration is, do you want to have a single line system or a separate tack line? It is very popular these days to have a separate tack line because it makes it easier to get your spinnaker up, and because you pull out the tack of the spinnaker first. But the all-in-one system is a bit more straightforward if you're sailing with somebody who's not experienced. But if you're having a separate tack line, you'll need a cleat on the front beam like this one. The tack line just goes to there. And then for the actual spinnaker halyard, we've got a cleat on the mast here, which is for the halyard. And then from the spinnaker halyard, if we're using this split line system, the rope will come down to a block on the front beam, back to a block which is on elastic on the back beam. That's to take the excess halyard away. And then if we are using a chute, this will then come forwards and either go through the trampoline, or if you don't have a hole in the trampoline but that line could go through, you could mount a block just on the front beam here, and then from there that could go into the chute there, reducing the need, taking away the need for that block on the trampoline, and then that becomes the retrieval line, ties onto the spinnaker, which is what pulls the spinnaker back into the chute. So with the single line system, what we have is the tack part of the system goes through the block at the end of the bowsprit and then comes to a double block and then back one end goes back to the bowsprit, that gives it a purchase. The other end, the halyard comes down from the mast. We have a block on the bowsprit here that goes forwards to the double block and then back to a cleat on the front beam. So on the Dragoon here, with the bag on the trampoline and the single line system, this is the most simple way that you could put the spinnaker onto your boat. And then the end of that line will just be loose. No elaborate takeaway unless you want to fit an elaborate takeaway, but there'll be a lot of rope there when the spinnaker's up, so it would need to be a significant takeaway system. We are going to need spinnaker sheets, so anything between 6 and 8 mil rope, either polyester core if you're on a budget, or a Dyneema core if your budget is a little bit more extravagant, is fine. And then if it's a smaller spinnaker, so up to about 15 square meters, just a single block which you can mount at the base of the shroud is fine. This block needs to have a ratchet on it, because if you're going to use the spinnaker when it's windy, there will be a significant amount of load there. Or if your spinnaker is bigger, like on a Tiger, Pacific or any other 18-foot boat, where you're likely to have a 19 square meter spinnaker, from this block we'll then go to a second block, and this is going to make it easier to sheet in and control the power there. These blocks here, the ratchet blocks, can either be a pressure ratchet, which is ideal, or if you don't have a pressure ratchet available, you could use a ratchet block with a switchable ratchet there. Okay, so then here we are at the top of the mast. We're going to need to attach a line up here somewhere. If you have somewhere at the top of the line which is convenient, at the top of the mast which is convenient to tie the line onto, then that's ideal. Otherwise you would need to add a fitting like this one, and that will have to be sealed because you do not want water getting into your mast. And then we'll take a length of rope and then a distance down the mast. We'll just look at what that distance is on a Tiger in a minute. We need to go through some sort of strop. So what we've got here is a rope that runs around the mast, and there's just a hole, 2 holes drilled in the mast there. This is inside the mast track, so once again, this isn't going to let water into the mast because it's inside the track section. And what this line does is means that when the spinnaker is up and pulling, it won't affect your mast rotation. This is quite important. And then from there, this line attaches to a block, and then that is where the spinnaker halyard runs up to. So that's where the top of the spinnaker will end up when you have it hoisted. Okay, so the distance to the block from the top of the mast is, on a Tiger or on a Pacific, is 1 meter. That's with a 19 square meter spinnaker. It is possible to buy everything that you need for the spinnaker as a kit, but you're only likely to find this for the Hobie 16, and the price for the complete kit without the spinnaker itself, it's going to be around €1,000. You can put the kit together yourself, and I've actually done the work for you. I've made you a shopping list of what you're going to need. So regardless of what system you're going to need, firstly you're going to need a spinnaker pole, you're going to need some Dyneema bridle wires and intermediate bridle wires for the pole, and then you're going to need a chute opening and then a sock. The chute opening and the sock, you might as well just buy that straight from Hobie, because it's a good shape and it works. You could buy the sock if you wanted to. You could get one from OS3 Sales here in Greece. There's a link in the description below to everything that you could get for your spinnaker from OS3 Sales, including the spinnakers themselves, with very competitive prices, very good spinnakers. And then you're going to need a load of blocks. So here we go. We're using 22mm Harken stainless blocks. These have been proven to be the best, the most durable, very good blocks. So you're going to need one for the end of the pole. This is if you're going for a single line system. One for the end of the pole, one for the other end of the pole, a swivel version of the block for the top of the mast, a double block which they're calling a traveller block for where the ropes go together, and one block to either go on the front beam or on the trampoline for the retrieval, and then a 16mm block for that halyard takeaway. If you're going separate lines, the blocks that you'll need is still 22mm, one for the end of the pole, a swivel for the top of the mast, one for the front beam, that's the block that comes down from the mast, one for the other side of the front beam for the retrieval, and then again a 16mm block for the halyard takeaway. You're going to need some cleats. You're going to need, this is what Harken call it, we're using Harken gear because it does seem to be the best, a standard cam base swivel and bullseye. That's what you need. If you're going for the single line system. If you're going for the double line system, you'll still need a standard cam base swivel and bullseye, but you're also going to need a reversible cam which you're going to mount on the mast. I think that is about it. If you're going for a bag on the trampoline, of course, you're not going to need the chute and the sock, which is going to save you quite a lot of expense. But that is your shopping list. So thanks for watching. I hope that has been helpful and informative, and now you know what is involved if you want to put a spinnaker on your boat. I think it is going to work out a bit cheaper if you go for supplying some of the parts yourself, like getting hold of a length of tube for the pole, for example, is going to be much cheaper than getting one direct from the manufacturer. But if you get it from the manufacturer, all the work is done. What I didn't mention in the shopping list is you're obviously going to need some rope as well, the halyard, tack line, sheets, elastic for the takeaway, and there'll probably be other bits that you need as well. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Thanks to everybody who's been supporting the channel. That really helps, and it's nice to feel appreciated for making these videos, especially the ones which are perhaps not quite as exciting like this one. And we'll see you next time for some more. There will be a video coming soon on how to use that spinnaker once you've set it up, which I think will be very exciting. So thanks very much.